Hey, good morning, everybody. My name is Henry Ferguson. I'm Director of Strategic Partners at Viewpoint. Worked at Viewpoint for about the last 14 years and had a number of different roles. The last 5 years, I've been responsible for our partner ecosystem, Viewpoint's relationship with and integration with, or I should say specifically Vista's integration with third-party solution providers. And today I'm real happy to introduce Cosential, who's one of our top strategic partners. Cosential joins 13 other companies that have the highest level of relationship with Viewpoint. And we do this for situations like what Cosential does, where they fill an important product gap and provide an industry leading solution in an area where Viewpoint can't or probably shouldn't be the company that's trying to do that for you. And part of how this came about is across the customer base, I hear of sort of three layers of doing business development and marketing for customer companies. And one of the most common is that they rely on some combination of Outlook, Excel, tribal knowledge, don't really have a deployed solution that helps them bid more work and do more business. And I wish each of those Vista customers would at least attend a webinar or learn a little bit about how a CRM might improve their business. And the second smaller group of customers are those that are using some kind of generic CRM like Salesforce or Sugar CRM or something that's not purpose built for construction. And, that's probably better than nothing. Matter of fact, I assume that's better than nothing. But those solutions aren't really built with an understanding of the construction industry, our processes. They're designed to sell products to people, which is different than selling projects and expertise and a resume of completed construction projects. It's really a whole different thing. So I'm thrilled today to be joined by three Vista customers spread across the country. Out of the group of we have about 200 joint customers with Cosential that are using the integration that Cosential has with Vista. And Cosential's the construction industry's leading provider of CRM. They're serving about 30% of the NR 100, but they scale, frankly, to all layers and sizes of organization. And I'm eager to hear more from these customers and hope you enjoy a lively discussion and fun. And so let me introduce Andy Hughes of Cosential, who will be our MC for today's session, and looking forward to learning more about how Cosential integrated with Vista can supercharge your business development efforts.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Henry. And thank you, everybody on the line. We really appreciate you guys taking the time to learn more about how Cosential and the Vista products complete the handshake. We're very fortunate to have three fantastic customers that are using both solutions right now, and intend to talk a little bit about where they're seeing value, kind of how they got to this point, and of course, answer any questions from the folks that we have on the line. So we really appreciate you taking the time to be here. Personally, I have worked for Cosential for about 3 years now. I run a couple different teams here. I run our sales organization as well as our customer success team. So I'm working with customers both, through the expectation setting process as we talk about, what Cosential can bring to them. We demonstrate the product and show how it can fit. And then I'm also working with customers post-implementation with our customer success group. So we do a lot of kind of driving home adoption, and the implementation process of Cosential is really focused on getting those moving parts all aligned so that you can start using the solution. But the customer success team really drives in on driving adoption, making sure that everybody on your team, not just your admins and your managers, have a deep understanding of how to use Cosential. So I kind of come at this from both sides, both the setting of expectations of what you should expect from Cosential, but also how we deliver the product and how people actually use it, which gives me kind of a unique view into how our clients leverage the tool and how our clients want to leverage the tool. So I think before we dive into too much, let's go through a very brief agenda so we can set expectations about where we're going today. First thing we'll do is introduce the folks that we're going to be talking with. So our three fantastic customers, we'll learn a little bit about where they're coming from. Then before we jump into the specifics around how each person or each company is using the integration and these solutions, I think it's fair to level set a little bit on what Cosential is and really what a CRM system is, not just Cosential specific, but a CRM in general is not something that's been widely used across this industry. So want to make sure that everybody's on the same page of what a CRM system is really built to deliver and how we go about doing that. Then, of course, we're going to jump into the specifics around Vista, how the integration facilitates better use of both Vista as well as Cosential. And then we're going to get to our panelists, where we're going to get some firsthand testimony of what they're actually doing with the integration. So not just what they were sold and what expectations they had, but how they actually use it in real day-to-day life. We'd love it for the folks on the call today to submit questions if you have them. We're happy to set aside some time at the end here to make sure we can address some specific questions that you have for our individual panelists or for the full group. Make sure that we can get all your questions answered as well. And then we want to set some expectations about what to think about if this is something that is on your mind. If you're thinking about maybe a CRM system, is something we should be considering, and how that handshake works with Vista. We want to be able to answer any questions that you have about, what should we be doing now to prepare for that, and kind of how to get your data and your company in line to move in this direction. So without further ado, let's jump into the fantastic folks that we're going to be working with today. Shannon, do you mind if I start with you?
Sure.
Great. So Shannon Lacerta was kind enough to join us today. Shannon, do you want to give us just a little bit of background on yourself, and then we'll do a little bit of background on your organization as well?
Sure. I'm an executive assistant to the business development department and marketing here at Excel. My background, actually, I was a construction litigation trial assistant for 15 years. So that's where my construction background comes from. And from there, I went into business development, and I just had to get out of legal.
Awesome, cool. And you want to tell us a little bit about Excel?
Sure. I've only been with Excel just a little over a year. We just celebrated our 25-year anniversary.
Congrats.
Yes, that's considered a baby company here in the Bay Area. But our executives, some of our executives have well over 40 and 50 years experience in the industry themselves. And we are a growing company and really making our name for ourselves out here in the tech world, where, as everybody knows, that the tech industry is just booming out in the Bay Area. We have, and we are Excel from South Bay all the way up to Sacramento. So we just consider we're not nationwide. We don't do all of California. We like to say that this is our niche, is pretty much Northern California.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Shannon. I appreciate that. Martha, let's throw it over to you. You want to give us a little background on yourself, and then we'll jump into a little bit of background on Overa?
Of course. Well, so my name is Martha Castaneda, and I'm the Director of Marketing and Business Development for Overa Construction. We are located in Richmond, California, and we service Northern California. And a bit about my background is I served in politics. I actually worked with a congressman here in the Bay Area and a congressman in New York City. So I have that, and then went into working for the AEC industry. So for each, architecture, engineering, and now construction. So I've shifted, but politics is always plays and folds into business. So at least that complements that side of my interest in politics. So
absolutely does.
That's who I am. And about Overa, we're celebrating 111 years in the Bay Area and servicing Northern California.
Wow.
It's a fourth generation family owned company, and it's actually started since the 1906 earthquake in the San Francisco Bay Area. So the family started their business and flourished as we are today. But we now are more than 300, and we have nearly over 250 craftsmen in our company. And many of the company is built by its reputation and its longevity of our people. And so that's the backbone of Overa, and has ranked us in at least top 42 general contractor in California, with number 2 in the water municipal market, and that's from the California ENR from last year. We also consecutively have been topped best places to work from San Francisco and Silicon Valley Business Times Journal. Markets we serve are in commercial, education, healthcare, as you know, water municipal markets, industrial, energy and power, and more. We have had the fortune of expanding a bit of beyond California in Arizona, so we've depends on where the clients are looking for us. We service our clients where been asked and needed. So that's
awesome.
Who we are. Yeah.
Great. Thank you very much, and congrats. There's a lot of accolades in there.
Thank you.
All right, Christina, we have you on the other side of the country, out in Delaware. You want to give us a brief overview of your background and then a little bit about M. Davis & Sons?
Absolutely. So I'm Christina McMillan with M. Davis & Sons. I'm the manager of business development. I've actually been with the company for just about 20 years now. I've actually held a lot of different roles within the company. I used to be in the accounting and finance space in the company, was their controller, and moved over to business development a couple years ago, and have been pretty much trying to put some analytics into sales and marketing and make sure that we're measuring our success and growing in the right direction.
Love it. So interesting with the finance background.
And to go into a little bit about the company, we're a 5th generation family-owned construction company. We're also a woman-owned construction company. Our current CEO is the 5th generation. We're M. Davis & Sons, but she was the daughter who took over. So we are headquartered in Delaware. We actually, on top of doing the service side of construction, we're also a fabricator and a manufacturer. So we have 4 additional fabrication plants within the Mid-Atlantic region. Our biggest focus is on safety and quality and our workmanship. We have around 450 employees, 400 are in skilled trades, and we definitely want our employees going home the same way they came to work. So safety is a big part of our culture. From our actual work perspective, we like to take an innovative approach to construction. And to do that, we use a lot of engineering and technology solutions such as modular construction, 3D modeling, and BIM.
Awesome. Excellent overview. Great. Well, thank you all so much for being here. We're thrilled to have you guys here. We're going to dive into a little bit more about how you use these 2 systems, what the integration means to you, what value you really get out of using these systems day to day, and how it changes what you do. So before we get into the really good stuff, I want to set some expectations around kind of what is CRM in general before we get into how people are using their CRM system in conjunction with Vista. And this is something that a lot of folks within the industry, they just haven't been exposed to these types of technologies before. So, a lot of times our presentations to prospective new clients starts with, what is a CRM system and why do you think you need one? And really it's different for this industry than it is for other industries. The acronym itself, CRM, stands for Customer or Client Relationship Management, or Relationship Manager. And I really feel like in this industry, it's kind of short-sighted to look at this as just your clients. Now, I think it would be common sense to think that you need to be managing the relationships of your clients because, of course, your clients are your lifeblood. Your relationships are what got you to where you are today. So leveraging those relationships and, exploiting those relationships for all the future sales opportunities that they might bring is important. But within this industry, you have a lot more relationships than just your clients. So within this industry, I think the acronym shifts a little bit. It's not just client relationship management as much as it is company relationship management, or even contact relationship management, because at the end of the day, you guys are managing a lot of complex relationships. Of course, that includes the relationships with your clients and how you're going to continue winning business with those folks. But in addition to that, there's other folks within your organization that are having third-party conversations. So, if this was your world, it wouldn't be too hard to wrap your head around, right? You have a sales organization, you want to manage those accounts, you have operations, that actually goes out and does the work. You have a technical staff. This doesn't get too complex. However, your world does not look like this, unfortunately. Your world looks more like this. You've got partnerships to manage. You've got suppliers and vendors to manage. You've got government relationships to manage. You've got subcontractor relationships to manage. All of those different roles belong to different associations that need to be managed. So the complexity of relationships in your industry is very unique, and it's something that not a lot of companies are thinking about. A quick example to that. One of the things that Cosential helps you do is bring in consultants or other people who worked on a project with you. What a lot of our customers don't realize is those are future leads, right? Every single subcontractor, architect, engineer, other GCs that worked on this project with you, those are future leads. Those are relationships that you can manage today that will lead you to future business later that a lot of times people aren't really exploiting. They're thinking about their one point of contact at a company when in reality, their CRM system, by virtue of the integration with Vista, is bringing in new leads almost every day on every project that you guys are performing work on. So managing those relationships and deeply understanding who talked to them, when did they talk to them, what did they talk about, when are they supposed to talk again, all those are important things that you don't want left up in the air should an employee leave or retire. Those are all conversations that need to be kept alive. And if you're not privy to what they talked about, when they talked, and when they need to talk again, you're typically going to be letting relationships and important things slip through. Now, something that Henry mentioned when he first started us off is very near and dear to me, which is there's a lot of CRM systems out there. And they're, a variety of different ways that people use these CRM systems. But one thing is consistent amongst the CRM systems that you're probably accustomed to hearing about. The Salesforces, Dynamics, Sugar CRM, all the big names that you're accustomed to hearing. Those products are built specifically to help people like me. So I sell a product. I sell a piece of software. I have a physical thing that I sell, and once I close my sale, I move on to the next customer. Now, what we find is in your industry, that's not your sale, right? Your sale is not just finding a person that has interest in the services that you provide and then closing the deal or getting the award. It goes much deeper than that. What happens after you get the award is just as important of how you got that award, because what we find is the projects that you're working on, that's your future marketing content. And when those projects are successful, you need to leverage them in every way that you can to go out and win more business. So a typical two-stage product-based CRM like Salesforce simply doesn't understand that part of your business. They think once you've won the deal and it is what it is. Cosential understands that once you've won the deal, the real work starts. That's when you break ground. That's when the project actually kicks off. And all of the data and information from that project is what needs to be fed back into your sales and marketing organization so that they can leverage that information to go out and win more business. So this is really the biggest differentiator as it relates to Cosential versus other CRM systems. And a lot of companies don't find this out until it's, I would say too late, but it's never too late because you can always change direction. But, people will buy Salesforce just because it's Salesforce. You're looking for a CRM system. The most popular and widely used one out there is Salesforce. So sure, let's go buy Salesforce. But what we find is customers try to use Salesforce and it's immediately the square peg round hole scenario where it just doesn't fit what we do. It doesn't reflect the way we talk about our work. And so it takes a lot of work, a lot of money and time to make it do that, where Cosential right out of the box is built to understand how you sell, the terminology that you use, and it just feels right for users who log into Cosential. Now, of course, all that is wrapped around by our Vista integration. The Vista integration is what's going to deliver that project information back into the sales organization and back into your CRM system. And frankly, that's the most important piece that we're going to be talking about today. Now, typically the type of information people are pulling in from Vista into Cosential for their sales and marketing folks are the things that you see on your screen in front of you. They want to understand what's going on with this project, a summary of what the project goal is. They need to understand where within your firm this project came from. So the firm org of, who did the work and what office is it out of, et cetera. Owner-client details, of course. Who else worked on this project with you? So other consultants, the subcontractors, the architects and engineers, and all the other parts that were played. And then, of course, your staff team. We need to collect information on what your folks are working on so that we can automatically create resumes, automatically update their resume without a, manual step to go in and edit a document. Project cost is critical. It's something that's going to change over time. So is the schedule. You start off with an idea of what the project's going to cost, and 10 change orders later, you realize what the project actually cost, and sometimes it's not at all what you thought it would. So being able to market the actual costs, the real-time costs, instead of, what that project manager thought. Hey, how much was that one project you did? Oh, I think that was $2 million. In reality, it may have been a $12 million project, and they just got it mixed up in their head, and now you're marketing with a project that we don't have accurate data on. So this is the reason why we're pulling this data from Vista into Cosential, is so that the marketing and salespeople who need it are able to leverage it quickly and easily and have confidence that it's the right data. All right, so we are going to jump into our roundtable session here and get into some specific questions with our group. Shannon, are you okay if we start with you with a couple questions to start us off?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, cool. So Cosential is, a very robust tool. There's a lot of modules, a lot of things you can do with Cosential. Can you give us an idea of what aspects of Cosential that you use today in your day-to-day?
Actually, so for me, I basically live in Cosential every day. That's my life. We have a project. We have I guess the best way to put it is a project development process, and we have actually combined our process to work with Cosential, to how our PXs and our MSLs and how we get work to make Cosential work for us. So we've integrated a lot of that. So that's why that is my daily life, is going in there, and I just constantly run reports for people, checking it to make sure all the information is in there. That's basically how we use it, is to track everything that we do and every work that comes in, from people to organizations to leads. We're just constantly, I just use it to work for us.
Awesome. That's perfect. So that kind of talks about the sales portion of Cosential, right? It's your team interacting with Cosential, adding in the opportunities that they're chasing, the people who they're talking to, the activities that got them there. How about the integration? The project and personnel focused data that we're able to pull from Vista back into Cosential. From a sales perspective, is that stuff helpful, or how do you guys use the integration or the data that comes over through the integration?
So that's new for us here, but it's been a huge part of marketing and time saving. So unfortunately, we've only gone back, because we had from Vista, I think it's only 5 or 6 years, so we can only go back that far. But from that point, like I have the marketing department will come and say, hey, how much, how many design builds over $10 million have we done in the last 5 years? And I could, within 2 minutes, or not even that, 30 seconds, I could run a report and hand it right to them. And that the time save on that is just unbelievable. So
awesome. And it's all around pattern matching, right? Like they're going to throw some sort of pattern at you, and you're going to have to find projects or people that meet that criteria. It's like, hey, I need a design build in this city that was greater than this many square feet and was Silver LEED certified. Ready, set, go. Give me all that you have. And so now you have the ability to deliver that back quickly.
Exactly. And sometimes I get the same question a lot, and a lot of times, I'd say about 85% of the time, it's a different request every single time.
Yep. Funny how that works, right?
Yeah.
Rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Hey, when we talked about your setup originally, you mentioned that you guys did some beta testing to kind of streamline the process and make sure that good data was going in. Can you elaborate a little bit on how you guys did your beta testing and kind of why and how you went about it?
Yeah, so when we did it, I wanted to make sure that we did it in small increments because I knew we were going to change everything that we did, at some point, or just constantly wanted the way we work here is people always have to have their, like kind of like their nose in what you're doing, I guess is the best way to say. So what we did was when we started doing the integration, we did a whole mapping of it and said, okay, this is what we like. So we did about selected five projects and did the integration. And then we realized, okay, we don't need this information, but we want to pull now this information. And so we constantly and then we'd run reports, and then we meet with a different set of people and said, okay, what would you like? What kind of information do you need? And then the best thing, what we had to figure out is what was going to be the alpha or the main point of information. Was Cosential going to be this main point of certain information, or is Vista going to be the main point of certain information?
Right. The system of record, absolutely.
And that was the biggest thing we had to realize. Okay, are we going to put it in one point here or one point here? And we realized that a lot of information it's going to be put in Cosential first, and so that needs to be the main point. So then, okay, what's going to be the main point of information for Vista? And that was the beta testing that really helped.
Awesome. I love it. So instead of sitting in a room and trying to boil the ocean and read everybody's mind and do everything at once, you guys did little bits at a time. You met with teams, got their feedback, applied their feedback, tried again until you iterated to the place where you ended up.
Yes.
Awesome. Do you know now, off the top of your head, and I might be putting you on the spot, do you know what kind of fields were most important to you guys to bring over from Vista into Cosential?
Project numbers. So the data, the values were some of the most important. And so that's where we figured, okay, Vista was going to be the main point where those numbers came from. And that was going to fill in for Cosential for the project part of it, to make sure we got the exact 100% right answers.
Awesome. That's perfect. How long have you guys been on Cosential now?
So the company has been on Cosential for 6 years. But since I've been here, I'm basically, I run Cosential. So I can honestly say for the last year that I've been here, we actually use Cosential to its ability. Prior to that, it was not.
Awesome. That's great. Awesome feedback. Thank you very much for that. We're going to jump over to Martha now. Shannon, we're going to come back to you here in a couple minutes. A couple specific questions for Martha, if you're ready, Martha.
I am. Okay,
cool. So I feel like you're kind of in an interesting seat because you've got one foot on the marketing side, the other on the business development side. What parts of Cosential are most meaningful for you in your day-to-day?
Mm-hmm. So it starts with the business development. It's the client relationships. It's the shared knowledge and the platform that I was seeking for empowering the future leaders in our company and the existing users. So it's feeding information into the database. And it started originally with one person using one system, so it was not communicating with the entire company, to me coming on board and flipping the switch. And that's just because of my background and exposure to other CRM systems. But this was the place, what I was looking for, looking forward and beyond for the company and its growth. So for me, what I wanted the company to invest on was its ability to share the knowledge among others. It's the communicating of client building, the relationship building, the tracking mechanism, and then it's the leads and opportunities. It's tracking the initiating the leads, followed by opportunities. Then, and of course, the reporting of forecasts and pipeline for client development tracking mechanism. Then what was critical was the project management flow of information back into the database for eventually, of course, the marketing, for leveraging the work to win more work. So that was the consistent flow, what I was looking for in
the day-to-day operations here for marketing and business development.
Awesome, that's great. And you kind of answered my next question about how you guys leverage the integration. It sounds kind of similar to how Shannon does to bring in that marketing data so that you can call it up when you need it, right?
That's in this state of times of business, efficiency is critical.
Yep.
For our size of company and the flow of work and submittals going in and out, we need to rely on accuracy. We need to rely on a system that fits our needs and company culture.
Yep.
It's the product that I'm looking for that fits in a AEC industry. So yes, it's one that I need reliable information and a system where all in the company are buying into feeding information for obviously to win more work.
Awesome, I love it. You said something a little bit earlier here, and I don't know that I have a question here, but I guess more of a comment or confirmation that what you're talking about is very real in our market. You talked about enabling or setting up, for success the future leaders of your organization, and that's a really big part of why this industry, the AEC industry in general, is looking at Cosential right now, is because of this generational shift. As folks retire out of the business and move on, they have so much information in their heads that the company relies on, and how are we going to get that information before this person retires and moves on? We need to capture their project details, what they've done, what they know, because those are the people that everybody else comes to with questions. Hey, when did we do this? How much was that? So that generational shift is important, and it sounds like something that kind of drove what you guys are doing as well.
And I think, like Shannon said earlier, it's like this hands-on. You want the people who are driving it totally committed to investing into the database. There's a reason for the need of the database to collect and document and store the data, the historical data to use and leverage for, augmenting the project or submittal that you're proposing on. So it's valuable passion, I guess, that we committed to selecting CRM Cosential based on what we're looking for in this market, in the AEC industry.
Awesome, that's great. I feel like you guys had a unique process, or you guys kind of did things in a unique way as it related to your change orders, and I believe you guys did some cool programmatic things as it relates to change orders between Vista and Cosential. Can you walk us through kind of what you guys did with change orders and how you're looking at change orders in Cosential from Vista?
Well, so like I said, what was critical about Viewpoint or Vista was its financial mapping information of the projects into Cosential. That is completely critical. And so, and the information that it passes over, not only just the costs of the project, the change orders, but the schedule, the project schedule. So it's the stories that we need, obviously, for collecting the data and from our team, our existing team who are wrapping up projects. So what we've done, because of the flow of work and the immediate work when the team, before they relieve themselves from one existing project and moving on to the next, what we have decided to do to continue the efforts of collecting that data and feeding it back into the system. Remember, that's always critical to the CRM will not play its role if the people behind it are not feeding the data into the database. So what we have done is we have, just before a project closeout, we've had Cosential spit out a report for us using Publisher to grasp or collect or pull the fields and headings about a project so that we could go back and meet with the team and document everything just before they shift and transition to the next job. That's how we've set ourselves up for success when we're collecting data and making this CRM system highly intelligent to help us build our submittal packages, or even more so to help collect the knowledge to share back with clients and owners, which they always want to hear about. Well, how did you do this, and what made it work? And I don't have to go back to searching for the team to collect that data. It's in the database. With the beauty about it, for me to say it's in the database to my colleagues so they can log in and pull it if they need to talk to a client or to an owner. That's the key about the project intel that feeds back from the project to the marketing and sales team.
Yep, you said something really important there that I want to highlight around. The CRM system is not a crystal ball, right? It doesn't read your mind. You have to have participation and people using it in order for it to be valuable. How and I don't know what the answer to this is going to be. How has adoption gone? Has adoption been easy for you? Has it been challenging? Any comments on kind of how you got your team to wrap their arms around and use this in the way you wanted them to use it?
Not at all. Just because of my exposure from previous systems, I've been used to the platform and the expectations and what I'm looking for. For me to introduce it to the team, it was smooth. I had many lunch and learn sessions with the team, and broke it up into different parts of the system, or the tabs per se, so that they're not overloaded or overwhelmed with a bunch of information. Because for me, I'm thrilled and excited about what the system can do and its potential. But I got to take it easy, set myself back, because I want to motivate my team to using the database. So it's been profoundly successful. I've got, it's, like I said, it's been incredibly efficient. It's been a collaborative platform for all to be coming and asking and wondering what more could it do.
Awesome.
So that's how the education mechanisms I've introduced to gradually entice my team back into using the database.
Great. Love it. And adoption's that magic thing that, you have to be thinking about. Every customer, every prospective customer who's thinking about a CRM system, be thinking about adoption, right? That's the key, and that's what you really need to focus on, because, like Martha said, it takes cooperation and participation to make a program like this work. And that's not always as easy as it was for Martha. And with her experience, I think she was able to usher Cosential in a way that, was valuable for people to leverage. But a lot of other organizations, are dealing with a workforce that's not really looking for new technology. So keeping it simple for them up front. And again, like Martha said, kind of holding herself back with all the cool stuff she wants to do so that her team can focus on getting the basic stuff right is an important way to go about it. So thank you very much, Martha. That's all excellent feedback. I appreciate it. And we will be back to you here momentarily with the full group. So we're going to jump in with Christina. Christina, you still with me in Delaware?
Absolutely.
Awesome. So thanks for hanging in. Let's talk a little bit about how you guys use Cosential. What parts of Cosential are most important to you and your team?
So we utilize Cosential. Basically, right now we've had Cosential for just about a year. We kind of took, like Martha was saying, a phased approach to get people in there using the basics. So we're still at just pretty much using it from the sales side of things. We're not using a ton of the marketing pieces yet, although we have played around with them and they do work well. So right now, the biggest thing that we've done with Cosential is converted what we called our quote log over into the opportunity section of Cosential, which took a little bit of customization and some time, but by pulling that information in and using the opportunity piece along with the client management piece, just capturing contacts and companies, we now have a full picture of everything that goes on from the point of getting a lead all the way through project completion and being able to see what we have done for a client. And obviously the Vista integration helps with that too, because now we can look at, a company and see, here are all the projects we've been completed, here are all the opportunities we have coming up, and here are the projects that are ongoing.
Awesome, that's great. I know you guys also did something unique with your project numbering, and I believe we did some custom work to help you get there. And I think we struggled through it to get it exactly right the way you needed it, but I believe that's done now. Can you just talk a little bit about kind of what we delivered to you, and then what you decided, hey, that doesn't work, I need it to work like this, and kind of why it went that way?
Absolutely. Our job numbers are pretty unique. We have, each project manager has their own department that they manage. So they basically have like a mini P&L for their department. And we have about 15 project managers. So each of them has their own sequencing of project numbers. And it all used to be done in a spreadsheet. So you could have duplication of numbers if somebody didn't log their number in. Now with Cosential, when they convert an opportunity to a project, they can actually go into that project and generate a number, and it basically uses the department number they put in, and then they tell it what kind of project it is. Is it a time and material project? Is it a lump sum? And then it actually sequences the numbers for each department in the background so that they're not pulling duplicate numbers. Once that number is pulled, it is unique. Now, what they do is they then take that number and they create a work order. They give it to our accounting group to enter into Vista. When Vista syncs back with Cosential, it knows that project number goes to that opportunity, that quote, and so everything is linked.
Awesome, that's great. You mentioned your quote log earlier, and your kind of business development process around that. Do you guys leverage the grid view, the opportunity grid view, to look at your opportunities kind of like a log, or do you guys look at more individual opportunity by opportunity?
We do both. I'm managing it from kind of a higher level view. So I'm looking at it from, I want to see all the open opportunities. I'm usually looking at it either in the grid view, or I'm looking at it from the dashboard and seeing it in that pipeline view, and looking at win-loss ratios. Our project managers are normally looking at it in the grid view, or they're looking at it from, okay, what opportunities do I have open with this particular customer, and managing it that way. So we look at it in all the different ways Cosential allows us to. It just depends on what somebody's role is and what information they're trying to get to.
Got it. Do you manage like a weekly or monthly or quarterly sales meeting for your team?
Yeah, so weekly we're reporting out to the team how many open opportunities they are and which ones have converted, which we've never done before Cosential. So it's really good. We actually trend that information on a weekly basis. We have a monthly meeting where we go over, okay, all of these opportunities are still open, which ones are still valid, which need follow-up, and things like that.
Awesome. That's great. So you kind of use Cosential to drive those meetings then?
Yes, and that was awesome. One of our goals when we first started with Cosential was, you always want to keep the end in mind, and one of our goals was to be able to have a tool that will help kind of facilitate some of the conversations we're having in our business development meetings.
Got it. That's great. You guys, and some companies are totally different about this. Some are crazy and want to manage every single little detail, and some just don't care at all. Do you guys manage activities like, I called this person, I emailed this person? Do you guys get to that level of detail?
We do somewhat, mainly for our larger events and conferences. We're looking at follow-up being done to that. Our customer retention rate is really good, so a lot of it's repeat business. So we're not asking people to put every single activity with a customer we've been doing business with for 15 years, and every time they take them out to lunch or have a phone call with them, we're not asking for that. But any prospects, we're asking for activity on.
Awesome. Do you manage that? Like, do you have like activity goals for people where you want them to have this many touches in a month or a week or anything like that?
Yeah. So our goal is for everyone to talk to or reach out to a client that we either haven't done business with in a while or that we've never done business with, and it's amongst all of our project managers and our sales team. we're asking for 2 touches a month.
Awesome. Love it. All right. We are kind of coming up against the clock, so I think let's go ahead and jump into the full group. We're going to open this up to all 3 of our panelists and Henry as well, if you want to jump in with any questions. I have a couple things that I want to take, kind of get everybody's take on specifically. My first question for everybody, and I guess why don't we start with Christina, and then we'll go Martha and Shannon. But I'm kind of curious of your evolution of how you ended up here. You've ended up with 2 separate products that are now tied together. Did you first purchase Vista and had been on Vista for a while and then purchased Cosential, or vice versa? Can you just kind of walk us through the evolution of how you ended up here?
Definitely. We've been on Vista since 2004. I was involved in that. Actually, we implemented right before I got involved with it. So I've pretty much been involved with Vista since we started with it. Cosential, we actually found Cosential through the partner website that Viewpoint has. Because we were going down the Salesforce route, we didn't like what we were seeing. It was very product specific, like you guys mentioned earlier. We wanted to find something that was construction specific. And so we have a really good relationship with Viewpoint and Vista. We've had great success. So we went to them and we saw Cosential on the partner website and said, let's give them a try. And between the integration and being able to see that full picture view, it was kind of a easy decision once we saw what Cosential could do.
Awesome. Love it. Martha, how about you? What was your evolution to get to this point with both products?
Yeah, so I've been with Ovra for now a bit of 7 years, close to 7 years. And so when I joined on board and learned that we were using just a spreadsheet, Vista was introduced to the company about 3 years prior to me joining. So my window was limited to what options I had to work with. I did look at the use of using the existing Vista. There was another product, Deltec Vision. Just because that's the database I used previously. Then I looked at Salesforce and then Cosential. And it was because of the company's peer group that I learned from them, Cosential. And so I had, keeping my options open, I had research and had all 3 of the software companies to see what would be the best fit for this company, its culture, and looking forward to its uses. So we, based on me having to talk to my peers using other systems, Cosential was the way to go with in using for what I was looking for.
Awesome. Shannon, how about yourself?
So when I came to Excel, they had already kind of started the whole process, but they had been with Vista since 2006, and I believe Cosential since 2010. And one of the reasons why they hired me was basically as a cluster F. And so I came in and started cleaning things up because my background was coming from another company that I did the transfer from Vision to Cosential. So I had that, and it's since I've been here, it's been a complete 180, and it's been amazing.
I love that. So they had Cosential for several years before you joined, weren't really leveraging it to the best of the tool's abilities, and you came in and kind of shepherded the way.
Yeah, since I've been here, we use Cosential for all of our daily weekly meetings, and for every market segment that we have, plus I have it brought up at all executive meetings.
Wow.
I do you reports? I just bring up the computer.
That's awesome. Do you think that, this is a dangerous question, do you think that Cosential and your better use of Cosential has contributed to a more effective sales process?
That I couldn't answer that. I would have to refer that to the VP of project development, but I can tell you it's using Cosential and the Vista has helped in producing submittals, proposals, time frame, time saving, and quicker turnaround of information.
Love it. And you said you literally walk your computer into meetings instead of printing out reports and show people screens and.
Yeah, we try to be sustainable in this office, and that was one of the things I did was I started saying I'm not printing anymore. Plus, it's a give and take because now people know that it's a live, document, so they can be updating information 5 minutes before a meeting before I pull up the report, which is fine.
Right. Yep. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. And it's funny you say that. I manage our sales meetings using the grid view and Cosential, so that way, it's like real time. Nobody comes to the meeting truly prepared. So as you're going through the meeting and asking people updates on stuff, we're literally making changes right in front of our whole team that the whole team sees, take effect and updating things together as a team. So yeah, I feel you there. That's great feedback. Okay, cool.
Could I jump in? With a question?
Yeah, of course. Absolutely.
Shannon intrigued me there because you're the second customer I've heard that experience from where there sort of was an unrealized or unoptimized implementation of Cosential, and it needed some stewardship and shepherding. And of course, here at Viewpoint, we have that challenge a lot where if somebody sort of doesn't get behind the new ERP, sometimes that can be very painful. I'm curious if for you or any of the other folks, whether you had to ever account senior management on any kind of ROI calculation or, hey, look at the time we've saved or look at how we think we're saving these dollars or we've made these dollars because of a more fully implemented, more thoughtfully implemented CRM.
For me, I have not done that, but part of my catalytic coaching, that's one thing that we have here at Excel, that is in my my write-up to say what I have implemented and what has changed and how it's saved. Not only time, but money.
Yeah, fantastic.
Martha or Christina, have you
Christina,
guys? Yeah, exactly. Have you guys had to kind of justify the use and provide an ROI to the higher ups?
This is Christina.
Go for it, Christina.
Sorry. So what we did, and actually this was both true for when we chose Vista as an ERP system and Cosential, was we got the players involved that were going to be using it. So our project managers actually had a lot of say in choosing both of those systems since they were going to be ones pretty much using it on a daily basis. I will say I was involved probably 4 years ago when we looked at doing a CRM 4 years ago, and I actually recommended that we not do a CRM at all because of the way we were set up at that time. Things changed and we evolved. So when I got involved 2 years ago of choosing CRM, it was really important that we looked, like I said earlier, we kept the end in mind. What were we trying to get to and what type of information did we want, but what did we want to do with that information? And I think looking at it in that way, it was pretty clear that we didn't have that information currently, and the return on it was that we would just have more transparency throughout the organization. So that was kind of the approach we took, was one, to get buy-in from the users, and two, to show what we really wanted to get and that we could get it with these systems.
Yeah, love it. I wish every customer would pick up that piece of beginning with what success looks like, where are we trying to get to, and then walk backwards through the implementation. That's a really, really important thing. How about you, Martha?
I piggybacking Christina and Shannon, the executives have seen great ROIs on this database and the uses of what it could do with immediate information in our fingertips. The turnaround for quick information to make the go, no goes, the quick analysis of how many have we've lost with the certain client and the future of pursuing the work, to the amount of submittals we've been able to increase in pursuing more based on the efficiency of the data collected in the database. immense, tremendous ROI in return that the executives have seen. Hence, now we got more licenses.
I love it. Awesome. Andy, you can't pay customers to say something like that on a webinar, I don't think. Or I don't believe that you
Definitely not, no.
Yeah, okay, good.
That's the truth.
We've had the opposite be true, too, where customers insist on kind of doing it the old way in a new tool and end up not realizing a benefit that the tool's really designed to give them, and that can be its own form of hell. I'm sure all of us on this phone, on this webinar, have had some version of that in our working lives. It can be very frustrating.
Awesome. Good question. Thank you. So we're running out of time, and I have a couple other things that I was hoping to get into the group. I'll focus in on one final question that I think is important. Obviously, everybody on this call, myself included, we all have a boss to impress, right? We all have somebody who's looking over our shoulder, making sure we're getting our job done, or a CEO who's looking at metrics and seeing how the organization is doing. I guess first, do you use Cosential to roll up metrics and information to your executives or to your CEO or your boss? And if so, what do they think about Cosential? Like, are they seeing the value in the data that you're bringing them? Because of course, the people at the top of the organization are looking to analyze what we get out of Cosential to make business decisions going forward. Are each of your organizations to that point where your executives are taking, the data that you present from Cosential and actually making it actionable and making business decisions on it? And let's start with Christina.
Yeah, so my boss is the CEO. She really likes Cosential. She likes the transparency of it. She will even get into the weeds sometimes of what activities have happened with certain customers that she's going to go meet with, and maybe she's meeting with senior level management there and she needs to know what's going on, maybe on site. So she really likes being able to see that. From overall executives, I actually created an executive dashboard for them. So I kind of steered, okay, I think this is the information you guys want to see, and then allowed them to copy it and kind of tweak it to their liking. And that's something we're just starting to roll out, so I haven't gotten some feedback. I would say it was just a couple weeks ago that we did that, where we had enough data in the system to get the dashboard where we needed it to be. But they love the fact that there is a dashboard and that they can see information on a very macro level and drill down to it if they want. But if not, they can just kind of see how things are going. And they look at it from a service, the different services we provide, all the way to the different industries we're working in, to each department project manager and how their book of business looks. So it's very flexible, would be my opinion of it, and our executives so far have had good feedback on it.
Awesome. Shannon, how about yourself?
So actually my direct boss is the VP of Project Development. He is kind of in Cosential, basically relies on me, but our CEO is head over heels in Cosential, looks at it every day, checking everything. Sometimes he even a dashboard, to the point where he's like, I don't really like it that way, and wants to change things up a little bit and ask. So from that point, yes, my executives are in there. The CFO, the COO is in it as well. For everybody else, the main people who use it are MSLs, who are right below, are still executive level, and the PXs. That's who my main target is to use. But yes, and it's great because during our meetings, especially BD meetings, the CEO, the COO, and everybody's sitting in there, and I bring up Cosential, and if something is not done or anything, it's right there, and they can look at, the CEO can look right at somebody and say, why isn't it updated? And they have no excuse.
Yeah, accountability. Amen to that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yep. Great. Martha, how about yourself? How are your executives faring with Cosential? Martha, do I have you?
I'm so sorry. I was chatting.
That's all right.
And muted. So sorry about that. But my business partner is the owner and the VP of the company. And there's constant daily reporting on the leads and opportunities and the pipeline and forecasts for the to know appropriately how to staff for the upcoming work. That's the vision that has been shifted at Overa. We don't track the hard bid work. It's more the collaborative delivery projects that are tracked in Cosential, where it's completely resource or taxing on the company's resources for tracking that project from start to end, and that could be about 2 to 3 years. So that's the system that we use to track or prepare ourselves for the resources for the backlog that we have in pursuit of those projects. That's at a business level that we speak to daily and address daily. I hope I helped answer that question. But
no, absolutely, that's perfect.
Okay.
Yeah,
great.
That's great. So guys, we are at the top of the hour, out of time. Again, a huge thanks to our panelists who participated in this with us. Thank you to Viewpoint for helping structure this. Thank you to the Cosential marketing team for helping facilitate. But special thanks to Shannon, Christina, and Martha for spending the time to do this with us. Cosential is thrilled to be a Viewpoint partner. We love where we're going in our direction as two companies working together. We'd love for everybody on the line to come get a demo of what we do, so please feel free to check out our webpage, go to the request a demo, and let us show you what using Cosential and Vista together might look like for your company. Again, thanks to everybody. Appreciate your time, and have a great rest of your afternoon.
Thanks very much, everybody.